So on your own, using your MVC Final Project app, you are going to create an edit display view for the display that you created last week, which means you're going to have to add two action methods to the controller. One is going to be a get and one will be a post. So the get is going to route you to the edit display form, and the post is going to be updating the database, just like we did with Contasso. Then, after you've created those action methods, you are going to go into your display form that you created last week and add an edit display link. Finally, you're going to do the edit display view, which is going to display the information from the selected row so that you can change it. And you do need to make sure you include the validate anti-forgery token. And I am going to show you what my example looks like. So here is my animal display that I created last week. And I'm going to go ahead and edit one of these. And I'm just going to kind of mess up the name and save it. So this is my new form that I just created. Okay, and you can see that it accepted the change. And now I'm going to go ahead and edit it again and save it. So that's basically what you're going to be doing, right? You're going to be adding this edit link. It's going to take you here. You're going to be able to make a change and save it, and it's going to take you back to your display. In order to do that, you need two action methods in the controller. It's going to be the same controller that you added the display to. You're going to have to then modify your display view and add the edit link, and you're going to have to create the edit display form. So in my example, the animal controller is where I added the code for edit display. And if you include the bind attribute, which you probably will, make sure you include the primary key, okay? Because that is required on the post in order to update your database. Okay, and you aren't going to display that in the view, okay, but it's there. The model state includes it. And if you look at my edit, because that's the primary key, I'm not displaying it, okay? But when you update your database, you gotta have it there, okay? Otherwise, it's gonna bomb, okay? It won't work. So make sure you include the key and all of the data that you want updated, because if you forget any of this, it won't include the update in your database. And so we've already talked about previous videos talked about what this is doing, but after you submit the edits, it checks to make sure there's no errors, it changes the entity state, and it saves the changes to the table. Okay, that's basically what it does. If there's an error, it takes you back to that edit display. And this is your get. So when we first click on edit, it basically uses the ID to retrieve the appropriate data and display it. And if for some reason it can't, if the ID is not there or it can't find the data, we are giving error messages. Okay, and then here's my display that I created last week. For my view, my display view, I had to add a row to the headings and then to the detail in the table. Okay, just the little link to edit. And then I created my edit display view, which is very similar to what we did in the Contasa University. So that's kind of our first task. Then we are going to be adding data attributes to our models. You need to do at least one schema annotation. So you can change the name of a table or change the name of a column. Index, I believe I am requiring some index changes. So those are also schema changes. Okay, so make sure you add index to your foreign keys. It'll speed up searching. For your string fields, they should have lengths. Unless it does not make sense to put a length on it. So I put lengths on things like last name, first name, that type of thing, but I did not put it in my graphics model. So you can see for like the photo and the alternate text, I actually did put a length of 50, which is actually a lot of alternate text, but for the photo, I did not put one on there because it just doesn't make sense. And for, let's look at animal. I did not put one on for the common or the scientific name, mainly because I'm not that familiar with them and I don't know what to put on for a limit. So I figured be safe than sorry. Okay, so other ones like when we get into patron, I did put lengths on everything. And you do have a regular expression requirement as well. And so you can see here, I did it on last name to make sure it's alphabetic. I also did one down here on email. And I did add email to this model. And if you add one after you've got your controller and your views created, it is kind of a lot of work because you have to go into every view and you have to add it. And then you have to look at your controller as well because the bind annotation is used on quite a few of them. And so you have to actually add your new property to the end or it doesn't get updated in your tables. Okay, so you want to make sure that your string fields have lengths if it makes sense. Your numeric field should have a range. I put a range on my donation. If the model property is more than one word, you should have a display attribute, and I use them everywhere, including on the IDs, because I tended to use the generic ID. So I used a display attribute on that as well. Determine which fields are required, add the required attribute, add the index attribute to the foreign keys. You need at least 3 custom error messages. I have a lot more. You need at least 1 regular expression. I have at least 2. I did one for alphabetic, and I also did one for email. Okay, so I will have a link here that you can download so you can take a look at mine, but you will be modifying your final project as well. And when you run it, you do want to check to make sure that it is using your new properties. And I can tell that it's using mine because I have spaces between the names, and that is what I specified for the display. Now, I'm pretty sure I did animal identification here. So this edit is something I would need to change. So if I go into here, And look under adoptions and the edit. I'm guessing here it is, label 4. So, yeah, I don't want that there. And I don't want this here. And that's what I mean by you have to kind of look at these and then make sure they're displaying with your new attributes. So let me reload this. And now I'm getting my new descriptions. So if you run into problems or if you have questions, let me know. Hopefully you'll have some fun with this and it won't give you any problems.